While my cousins were clinking glasses over 8-figure inheritances at Grandma Rose's funeral, I stood there holding a wrinkled coach ticket to a town that smells like salt and diesel. People tried not to laugh. Someone squeezed my shoulder and said I'd turn it into a growth journey. 6 months later, those same cousins stood outside my office with takeout coffee they couldn't afford, asking me for work. Before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. I trust you have done that. Now, let's begin. My name is Naomi, and I'm about to tell you how 6 handwritten words flipped the ledger on an entire family. But before Doc 7, before Dolores, before I understood what Grandma Rose had been building in the shadows, let me show you the room where it all started. There was Marcus, my oldest cousin, already scrolling through his phone to screenshot his equity block for LinkedIn. His sister Vanessa was recording herself crying elegantly for her followers, the kind of performance grief that gets 1 million views and 0 actual tears. Their parents sat like people who'd just won the lottery without buying a ticket, already discussing which financial advisor to call first. My aunt's hand was already reaching for the champagne the attorney's assistant had foolishly brought. And then there was me. The quiet granddaughter who drove 4 hours in a 10-year-old sedan with a check engine light I couldn't afford to diagnose. Just to say goodbye to the only person in this family who ever really saw me. The one who handled Grandma's pharmacy refills and appointment reminders while everyone else was too busy curating their shine online. Grandma Rose built something real from nothing. She turned a widow's survival instinct into a network that fed 3 counties, kept fishing boats afloat when banks wouldn't, and trained single mothers into captains. Everyone wanted to inherit her money. Nobody wanted to inherit her work. I just wanted 5 more minutes to sit on her porch, shelling peas and learning the difference between assets that glitter and assets that grow. She used to say, "Baby, don't learn to take. Learn to carry." I thought I understood what she meant. That funeral wasn't just about saying goodbye to Rose Martinez. It was the day I learned that sometimes the smallest gift is the skeleton key, and sometimes the people laughing at you are standing on a floor with rot in every joist. The attorney cleared his throat to move on. I was already checking the bus timetable on my cracked phone screen, my thumb running over the ticket's soft edge. That's when I saw them. 6 words in tidy blue cursive on the back. Go to Doc 7. Trust Dolores. I don't ignore verbs Grandma chose on purpose. That's not how she raised me. My alarm went off at 6:15 a.m. every weekday, just like it had for the past 4 years since I started freelance bookkeeping while finishing my accounting certificate at community college. The radiator in my studio apartment clanked the same metal percussion I'd learned to sleep through, and I could smell Mr. Okafor's breakfast frying through the thin walls, plantains and eggs, clockwork reliable. This was my life. Predictable, modest, built from spreadsheets and second-hand furniture, and completely different from the world my cousins inhabited. You see, being a Martinez cousin meant something in our family. It meant you showed up for holidays with wine and stories about your job in marketing or your boyfriend's startup. It meant you posted and performed. Being a Martinez granddaughter, the useful kind, meant different things entirely. The bus dropped me at a pier that looked like it had been arguing with the ocean for 50 years and losing. Fog turned everything soft and uncertain, rust flaking off chain-link fences, rope coiled like sleeping snakes, gulls shrieking their territorial claims over water I couldn't see but could smell. Brine. Diesel. And something older underneath. Dock 7 wasn't even marked. Just a grey boathouse that blended into the weathered planks, easy to miss if you weren't looking for it. But there, at shoulder height, was a brass slot worn smooth by use. My hand shook as I slid the paper ticket in. The lock clicked. A handshake with the past. The woman who opened the door had white hair pulled back with a rubber band and a blue windbreaker that had seen weather. Her face was all lines and decisions. "Rose said you'd come alone," she said, and it wasn't a question. "Dolores? Come in before the heat gets out." The office smelled like lemon oil and diesel. She placed a steel cash box on the desk, then a felt pouch. 3 keys inside, each tagged in Grandma's handwriting. Ice, net, ledger. She wanted you to see this first. Dolores opened an old laptop, clicked twice, and Grandma's face filled the screen. Her porch sweater, her glasses on a beaded chain, alive. "Baby," Grandma said, and I had to grip the desk. "I didn't ask you to be grand. I asked you to be good. Good is harder." She explained it like she was explaining a recipe. The cousins got the display, the condo with the view, the boutique fun stake, the foundation credit line that required matching donations they'd never source, performative wealth, built to photograph well. I got the engine. A cooperative cold storage facility, a bait plant, a stake in the island ferry, and a microloan fund that had been quietly feeding this coast for 5 years. The real estate vests with you the moment you arrived, Naomi. Congratulations. You're now responsible for 17 jobs, 4 boats, and a reputation I spent 60 years building. Don't screw it up. The video ended. Dolores opened a binder. Thick. Handwritten. Entries in columns so neat they looked printed. The Blue Book. Hundreds of microloans. $600 for a winch repair. $2,700 for refrigeration. $80 for school shoes. Repayment rate 97%. On the last page, in Grandma's writing, Naomi, debit, trust, credit, courage. My throat closed. Tore. Dolores stood, keys jingling. The cold room was immaculate. Invoices pinned in rows, color-coded by client. A deckhand nodded when Dolores said my name, and I saw it, the way people's faces changed when they heard Rose's granddaughter. Not pity, respect. We were walking back when Dolores's laptop chimed. She frowned at the screen. County RFP just posted. Food-grade cold storage contract, she looked at me. 5-year term. Rose flagged this before she died. Said if we didn't bid, someone from the mainland would lock us out. When's the deadline? 72 hours. Her grin had salt in it. You any good under pressure? I thought about Grandma's 6 words, about cousins with champagne and crumbling foundations. Let's find out. I spent the next 18 hours inside the ledgers. Not the fantasy kind my cousins were probably imagining. No hockey stick growth charts or exit strategies. Just clean, modest profit, ice sales spiking during heat waves, offloading fees from blue crab season, ferry ancillary revenue from tourists buying coffee and tide charts. Margins built on showing up, not showing off. My phone buzzed with the family group chat. Marcus posted a photo of the condo's skyline view with 3 flame emojis. Vanessa replied with a champagne glass. Someone linked an article about the boutique fund's disruptive portfolio strategy. I zoomed in on the foundation plaque Marcus had posted yesterday. There, in 8-point font at the bottom, credit line callable upon 60-day notice. Matching donor contributions required for disbursements exceeding $50K. My stomach dropped. They thought they'd won the lottery. They'd inherited a loaded mousetrap. Found it, didn't you? Dolores set down 2 mugs of coffee that smelled like it had been brewed in a marine engine. Grandma knew. Rose always knew. She pulled up the RFP requirements. Now let's see if you do. We mapped it on a whiteboard that still had Grandma's handwriting in one corner. Thursday equaled payday. No exceptions. Our capacity was borderline, but our storm resilience record was unmatched. Grandma had run food through a hurricane when the mainland suppliers wouldn't even answer their phones. Dolores cued another video. Grandma, same sweater, different day. If your cousins draw from the foundation like a tap, baby, the covenants will bite. Let them. You just keep the boats moving. The next morning, I met June Park in a county office that smelled like burnt coffee and budget cuts. She was younger than I expected, with a handshake that meant business. You're Rose's granddaughter. Not a question. Yes, Mum. Your grandmother kept my family fed during the storm when I was 10. Wouldn't take a dime. Just asked for receipts. June tapped the RFP folder. I can't give you favours, Naomi, but I can give you a fair shot. Your capacity number's tight. We can make them work, but we need to replace a compressor first. Then you better move fast. I signed the repair authorization back at the boathouse, staking half our operating reserves and my entire credibility on a 72-hour sprint. My phone rang at 11:47 p.m. Marcus. His voice had lost its champagne fizz. Hey, Naomi, quick question about matching funds. I let the silence stretch, tasting the shift. What did you need, Marcus? Marcus's question turned into a 3-hour conference call with increasingly panicked cousins. The boutique fund had suspended redemptions. The condo's HOA was facing a structural negligence lawsuit. Something about load-bearing walls and falsified inspection reports. And the foundation had sent certified letters outlining the matching fund covenants in language that didn't leave room for negotiation. You have access to capital, Vanessa said, her Instagram voice replaced by something sharp and scared. The co-op must have equity you could leverage for a bridge loan. No. Naomi, we're family. Then you can have jobs, not bailouts. Jobs. I hung up to 12 furious texts and one voicemail from my aunt calling me selfish. I deleted them all and went back to the problem in front of me. Our new compressor was hiccuping, the ferry was delayed by weather, and June's inspection was in 36 hours. Dolores found me at 2 a.m., staring at a spreadsheet that wouldn't balance. Pay crews first, she said. Patch the freezer with what's left. Delay everything else. What if it's not enough? Then we fail honest. She poured herself coffee from the pot I'd forgotten I'd made. You can't rescue people who think the life raft is a yacht, Naomi. Don't drown trying. Inspection day, I ran the floor myself, checked seals, verified temperatures, walked June through our storm logistics binder while crews moved around us with the quiet pride of people who knew their work could speak for itself. June made notes, asked hard questions, didn't smile until she was walking back to her car. You'll hear from us in 48 hours. Then softer. Rose would be proud. I made it back to my rented room above the boathouse before my legs gave out. My phone buzzed at 2:13 a.m. Marcus again. Can we talk? He showed up at dawn in borrowed work boots, hair unwashed, the polish gone. I handed him insulated gloves and pointed toward the cold room. Freight comes in at 6. You stack it square and tight. We'll talk after. He looked at the gloves. At me. At the dock where the sun was starting to turn the water pink. Then he pulled them on. June's email arrived on a Thursday, which felt right. County awards 5-year contract to Dock 7 Cooperative based on service history, capacity demonstration and community integration metrics. The warehouse erupted, deckhands whooping, someone's radio turned up too loud, Dolores laughing in a way I'd never heard. I signed the acceptance papers with Grandma's fountain pen, the same pen that had written 6 words on a paper ticket, and felt something like seasickness and prayer. By Friday, the cousins' empire was rubble. The credit line triggered its covenants. The condo faced special assessments nobody could cover. The boutique fund wrote down valuations by 40%. Marcus stayed. So did Vanessa, once she stopped crying. He turned out to be a brilliant dispatcher, could coordinate 3 boats, 2 trucks, and a delayed ferry without breaking rhythm. She designed wayfinding signs that tourists followed without knowing they'd been guided. We celebrated contract signing with sheet cake and diet right on the warehouse floor. Someone shouted, "Speech!" I looked at Dolores. She nodded. I held up the ticket, now laminated and pinned above my desk. Grandma wrote 6 words that changed everything. Go to Dock 7. Trust Dolores. The room laughed, then went quiet in the way that means we understand. That night, Dolores showed me the last video. Grandma, brief and smiling. You did good, baby. Now plant mangroves on the South Inlet. It's a vault the market can't game. So we did. I split my weeks now. Island Mondays through Wednesdays, City Thursdays and Fridays, keeping books for single mothers whose cash flow lives and dies between paychecks. We post our P&L on the break room wall every month. We fund microloans from operating profit. Reporter calls go to voicemail. Tonight at Dock 7, the cranes look like careful handwriting against the pink sky. Gulls punctuate the evening like commas. I sign a $300 microloan for a winch repair, watching wealth move the only way that doesn't rot, through. The cousin's condo view is someone else's liability now. This view, salt and steel and work that matters, never gets old. People ask how I knew what to do. The truth is simple. Grandma wrote it down. I read it.